In this third video in the series, we're going to model the side rails, including the detail around the domino joints, and then we're going to use the mirror function extensively to really efficiently complete the major parts of this project. For most of this tutorial, we're going to need to work off the inside face of this leg. So if we go up to our view cube here, we pretty much need to have the opposite view. Now we could use the orbit function, or I can just select this opposite corner over here and it spins the view around. So we need to start a new sketch off this face here. And I'll just make that fit a little bit better on the screen and zoom in even more. Okay, so we're going to start with some rectangles. So R for rectangle, and just set anywhere on this face, and it needs to be 18 millimeters thick, tab by 40 millimeters wide. And again, we're just going to need to define this to locate it on this face here. So D for dimension. The top of the rail is 45 millimeters down from the top of the leg, and it's centered on the face. So that will be, like before, that will be 6 millimeters. Now the domino is really, like, it's a little bit of a bonus bit of detail, just to really show what the joinery is going to be here. It's not super important, but I thought it's a good little process to go through. And I can also demonstrate the auto constrain function as well. Now the domino is going to be centered inside of this rectangle. And again, I'm just going to zoom in even further just so that it's really big on the screen. So instead of a straight R for rectangle, I'm going to do this with a center point rectangle. And I'm going to find the center of this rectangle here. And look, sometimes if your computer is fast enough, it will find it automatically. But a little trick is, if you hover up along an edge and go along, you'll get to a point around the middle, and you can see it there with that little triangle that's a little bit hard to see. But there's the center of that line. And then if I go down that line slowly and carefully, it'll find the center of this line here. And I can even move across there and it'll kind of remember what I've done. So it's now found the center point. So I'm just going to draw that out. Now that is going to be 13 tab by 5. So we've got our, well, the beginnings of our domino. To make it more realistic, because this is not the actual dimension of the slot for the domino, if we put in 2 3-point arcs and basically move that up until you get, you'll see a little sort of symbol appear down on the corner there, and basically means it's a full hemisphere. Yeah, you'll see it snaps to it. Okay, so we're getting close. T for trim, because I don't need that line there and I don't need that line there. Now it gives me a little warning down here, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet, because I'm going to use the auto constrain function to fix that. So that's basically all we need for our domino there. But before we finish, we'll go up to our constraints and we'll go to auto constrain. And what it will do, it'll generate a few different results. Now in this case, look, it really doesn't matter that much because this is not super critical, but I'm just going to have a look at what it generates for me. And you can see down here, it actually changes a few dimensions. And I can just sort of look at it and go, well, which ones are going to work best for me? And in this case, this set here will work fine for me. So I'll just press OK. And it puts those in and it's fully constrained. Now in the grand scheme of things, this is not super important. Still, it's a good practice to just make sure that everything is constrained. When we go to produce the working drawings, we're not really even going to refer to these dimensions at all, because it's not like in the workshop I'm going to be asking you to place the domino according to these specific set of dimensions. It's just not how it works. All right, I'm going to finish that sketch. Now you can see over here, we've got sketch 6, and from the last tutorial, we didn't rename sketch 5 as well. So let's do that now. So left click, right click. We just want to rename, and we'll call that rail front, and we'll call this side rail. Okay, now we've got some extruding to do, and there's a few steps here. So first extrude, we'll extrude out the side rail, but like before, we're not going to extrude it its full length, which is 210 millimeters. We're going to do it in halves. And the reason being, so we'll put in 105, and we want a new body. There we go, okay. It's because we've spent all this time setting up this geometry for the domino here, and we only want to do it once. So let's now just turn that off. In fact, let's just rename it. And then we'll turn it off, and we'll turn our sketch back on because we want to put the sort of the hole for the domino into the leg, because we're going to do that in the real world. So we'll get that nice and big on the screen. And so that's going to be a cut, and it's going to be minus 15 millimeters. Okay. Now we've got to do the opposite on the leg. So we want to keep that sketch on. We want to, on the side rail, I should say. So I want to turn that on, and I want to turn the leg off, and I want to change my view. I'll go back to the home view. And then, in fact, it's probably easier if I turn off the rail as well, and then I can just use the fit function to bring it up onto the screen a bit better. And again, so this is 15 millimeters, and it's cut. So we've got our dominoes in place. All right, let's get all of our bodies reappearing here. Again, we'll just go to fit. This is where the magic of the original setup and using the mirror function really comes into its own here. So we're going to do this in 2 steps. So we'll go to Create, Mirror, and we're going to select the leg and the rail. And then we're going to select the mirror plane, which is going to be this left vertical plane. And you can see them appear here, and they're going to be new bodies. So we just then select OK. Now we go again. We go Create, Mirror. In this case, we select everything. And our mirror plane is going to be this front vertical plane. And you can see everything turns up. Now, it's going to say Join. It does get a little bit confused because it's actually both joining and it's creating new bodies. So obviously it's going to need to join these side rails. I'm just going to go OK. And you'll note down here that a warning has come up, and it's basically just telling me that, okay, it joined these. So you can see here now we've got side rail and side rail 1, but it's actually made these into new bodies, which is exactly what we want. So we can ignore that warning effectively. The final thing that we're going to do is we're going to extrude out the common geometry on both the front and back rail. The front and back rails are not exactly the same, but right now we'll just extrude out the common geometry on both, and then we're done for this tutorial. So if we turn the rail front sketch on, we can turn that sketch off and extrude. So if I select these 4 surfaces, and then we can just push out as far as you like, as long as you go past both the front and the back rail, and it's a cut, you can go OK. So you can see the basic shape of those rails is showing up. And let's just do one more extrude, which is turn rail front on. And on the rail front, on the front rail only, we'll just cut out our 2 through mortises. But we don't do that on the back rail because we won't be doing that in the real world. So in the next tutorial, we're going to complete the unique elements of the back rail, including the hinged upper section.